Hey there, 𝗟𝗲𝗃𝗲 with another installment of Capital Markets Investor Relations in 2 minutes or less. This is going to be our recap video of the Delta guidance cut and ask the question of where did we ultimately land? And the point is, Delta cut its guidance on March 11th. There was a 50% reduction at the midpoint in non-GAAP EPS. It was a big deal to the stock. And two other key issues were it was off cycle because it was done prior to an investor conference, which made it a surprise. And secondly, it acts almost as a pre-announcement of the quarter, given that it was given in early March ahead of the end of quarter close on March 31st. And that makes it an even bigger deal in some ways. So where did we actually land? And I think the key is it's been 2 weeks since the guidance cut, and it's interesting to see how things have played out. And the key is that all three of the issues that we identified are true to some extent. And the first is the macro. The macro clearly is an issue here. You've got tariffs, DOGE cuts, and what we missed is the idea of safety. Delta had a few safety incidents, and all of these factors are contributing to less travel in the US. And then secondly, it is more than the first quarter, and it's more than Delta, which we'll get into in a few minutes, and that Delta has lowered other numbers and other airlines have followed suit as well. And then the third piece is this idea that there was a guidance problem of some sort when Delta first gave the guidance. I want to focus on two real issues that executives could really benefit from if they're mindful of this when they're setting guidance at their own companies. And the first is this idea of timing. And there's an interplay of confidence and visibility into numbers. Delta gave extremely confident guidance the first week of January when they had very limited visibility into the year. We hadn't even gotten through inauguration. And so to give significantly confident numbers that early in the year is setting yourself up for disruption and most likely change in the numbers where you're going to have to reset guidance lower. Always be mindful of the interplay of those two variables. And second is this idea of presentation communication. My concern here is that they didn't present the data to calculate non-GAAP EPS and other components of a forecasted model clearly and in a good way, as I couldn't figure out how to tie back to it. And if it's confusing to me, it's probably confusing to other investors. So the last question is, should any of this even be a surprise to investors? Yes, the macro, the DOGE cuts and tariffs are somewhat new around the time of the reduction, but we were in an uncertain environment just with governmental change at the beginning of the year, and to give a really strong bullish outlook at the beginning of the year was probably too aggressive. So what's the final analysis and the key learnings here if you're a public company executive? Well, first, other airlines actually followed suit here. United, Southwest, and American all lowered guidance. Secondly, Delta lowered its summer capacity and so did United Airlines. So clearly there's a macro issue here driving number change. And finally, with guidance, remember, avoid confusing presentations. You need to give the right components in the right way so that anybody can calculate those numbers. Remember, when investor relations is too tough for you, it's just right for me. Thanks for watching.